All right, hello. Welcome to yesterlore. Yeah, this is a yesterlore. It's a Saturday yesterlore, which is weird, but it's a yesterlore. So I am late because I just spent a ridiculous amount of time battling 3 different programs after my lamp that I usually have going out. Like the light went out right before the stream started. Like the light bulb just gave out, and I looked for my replacement and I couldn't find it. So I had to get a different lamp. And then I, in the meantime, was trying my darndest to get this image open. But Google Docs was not giving me a way to just view the image. For some reason, Google Drive didn't want me to look at the image that I had uploaded to it. And OBS refused to stream a window of my Photos app for some reason. I kept streaming it to OBS and it just was not appearing for some reason. So I just spent a lot of time figuring out alternatives, and I hope I figured something out that will work for today. Oh, this will not work. I cannot zoom in further than this, can I? Oh, okay, good, I can. Oh, that was scary. I was gonna get really upset. Okay, so what is today? What are we doing? What's going on? I'm honestly very upset about the fact that I was completely ready to stream 10 minutes early today, and then all this stuff had to go just completely to shambles, and now I'm 10 minutes late, basically. So if you are coming in late, you're not late, I'm late. If you showed up on time and were wondering why I wasn't there, I apologize. I tried my best. So, what are we doing today? Today, we are reading this stela from the first intermediate period in ancient Egypt. What's going on here? What is this? So this stela is was made for a governor of one of the gnomes. I think the 8th gnome. I can't remember the number of which gnome he was the governor of. We talked about gnomes last time we did hieroglyphs about a year ago. Maybe a little less than a year ago. And there's districts, basically, and he was a governor of a district during the first intermediate period. So this is after the Old Kingdom. That's the kingdom that had all those pharaohs who built the pyramids. And then the New Kingdom, or sorry, not the New Kingdom, the Middle Kingdom. Wow, I know words. Between the Old Kingdom and the Middle Kingdom was the first intermediate period. But there were still governors and pharaohs during those times. They just don't really fit into the kingdom scheme that is usually used in Egyptological history. So that's when we are. I should probably grab the date for that. I didn't bring. I do not remember the date. What's the date of this? Okay. 8th of her Egyptian gnome. Okay, I was right. I am looking for the dating for this artifact. Do they not say? It just says first intermediate period, and I'm not remembering off the top of my head the dates for the first intermediate period. If anyone in the chat remembers the dates for the first intermediate period, please share. I'm realizing that my widget for the chat that I usually have is not working. So if someone's typing in the chat, I won't be able to see. I need to open Twitch on a new window and keep that open. I have to make sure I'm muted so it doesn't echo. There we go. All right. Why is the chat not working? It says I'm not even in this stream. That's not correct. I am here, clearly. Okay, my phone is saying that's working too. I get little notifications when I'm streaming. Yeah, this is quite frustrating. I don't know what's going on. Trying to see my chat. Am I not able to see my chat in reduced view? Oh, I am not. That is less than ideal. Why would they design the website to not show my chat in a minimized or like a slightly smaller window? I have to be full screen to see my chat? That makes... Who is that? What feature is that for? Like, who benefits from that feature? I don't understand. I mean, I guess someone who never wants to read their chat, but that's got to be a tiny fraction of streamers. Yeah, where's my chat? I don't understand. Maybe if I go to Stream Manager. I thank you for bearing with me while I'm figuring out all this technical stuff that's not doing what it should. That's just the theme for today. Technology breaking. See, if we did all of these on stone tablets, they'd be less liable to break. I doubt a Twitch chat would work on a stone tablet, though. Okay, can I minimize that? Is that allowed? If I'm in Stream Manager, can I minimize it and still see the chat? Oh, good. Yes. Can I close? Hide player. Oh, thank you. Yes, I can. Thank goodness. Okay. Can I rearrange it just to see the chat, though? You don't need to give me a notification that I adjusted the width of something. I still don't understand a lot of Twitch's UI. It does not make sense to me a lot of the time. Like, who it's built for, because it's certainly not me. Okay, I need to be able to see both the thing I'm streaming and the chat, so I'm going to resize this a bit. All right, hopefully you can still see it. So, we are going to be reading this stela. I don't have the date, but you can look up when the first intermediate period was if you need help with that. I will probably put it in the description as well, first intermediate period, and then in parentheses I'll put the dates for that once I upload this to YouTube. But in any case, oh, also, by the way, the reference I'm using for like the vocabulary, because this has some difficult vocabulary, is this book, How to Read Egyptian. A very good book. It was one of the first books I read, actually, to learn ancient Egyptian way back in like elementary school, 1998. Yeah, and it's by Mark Collier and Bill Manley, and it's great because they not only have, like, you know, they teach you stuff, but then there are also exercises, and then there are answers in the back. So you get to actually practice reading, and all of their practice, pretty much, except for maybe like the first chapter, which is just some words, like practicing reading this hieroglyphs, are actual artifacts. Like, they'll have artifacts for you and be like, your homework, your assignment is to, you know, read, like, translate the first line, transcribe and translate the first line. So this was a really great book in learning hieroglyphs way back when I first got into doing this. Highly recommend. I can't remember the price, but it was definitely worth it for what you get out of this book. Probably, I want to say, best book for learning ancient Egyptian. And there are some good books, and I have quite a few good books. One other one that I'm going to recommend for my reading today of this is Ancient Egyptian Phonology by James Allen. It's probably the most recent book on ancient Egyptian phonology, particularly the reconstruction of vowels based on a lot of different evidence, but a lot of it comes from like a lot of Coptic texts being suddenly a lot more available because of the internet. There's been huge advances in reconstructing ancient Egyptian vowels, and I think I talked about this a little bit in my last ancient Egyptian reading. Now this one's going to go a little bit different because last time I had it all scripted out. It wasn't a scripted video, I never do those, but it was like all scripted out what each part means in order. I basically had a translation that I was using as reference, partially, and still not like reading it, but like if I forgot something, I would go and look at it as reference for that video. Still trying to do it in real time. This time it's a lot more 100% real time in that I haven't gone through and written a translation of the entire thing already. What I have are, difficult words that I don't remember off the top of my head. I did read it through once and understood the gist of what it said, so I'm not completely unprepared, and I have some notes with me here, mostly coming out of that book, to help me with some of like the harder vocabulary. But as I said last time in our Egyptian reading, it tends to be very formulaic on these kinds of artifacts because they're sort of formulas that you use in order to have this be a good dedication for someone who has died. There are certain cliches or formulae that you're supposed to use. And once you've read a lot of different artifacts, you come to like know what you're plugging in where and that kind of stuff. But there are always particulars to these things, and they might use vocabulary that I don't remember from years ago when I was way more involved with ancient Egyptian stuff. So that's what my notes are here for. So you'll see me looking down from time to time. The other parts of my notes here are just pronunciation stuff. Again, because hieroglyphs will not write the vowels for you. They have some hieroglyphs that are kind of like placeholders for vowels. Like there should be a vowel here. There's a hieroglyph that shows that. But other than that, it's super unclear. Not a little bit unclear. It's super unclear what the vowels are pretty much all of the time. So I'm going to also be looking down as a reference for the pronunciation because I am not a fluent reader vocally of ancient Egyptian. Most Egyptologists are not. They read the consonants and put E's between them in order to pronounce them because they don't want to be bothered with reconstructing because that's not their job. It's the linguist's job to do. Okay, so I'm going to zoom in just a tad more, and I forgot I have to like custom zoom with the plus, Control plus. We're starting up here because, as you can see, the faces of the animal, and there's some humans here, human hieroglyphs are facing, for me it's that way, for you it's probably the opposite direction, it's probably this way for you, the viewer. They're looking towards me, my camera, on the screen. So actually, I think I could make this a bit bigger, since I've altered the. Whoa, what is happening? Okay. Thank you. I can actually make this bigger now that I've changed the size. Okay, cool. That is much better. Wow. Yay. Okay. So, what's happening? We are reading from right to left because that is all the animals are facing right. So we read into their faces. There is a part here on this stela that is written the other direction, but we'll get to it. So we start with the very top because we read top to bottom, and here it's right to left. Sometimes we'll have left, right, but here we have right to left. And our first hieroglyph is already one that is not written in order. You might remember this if you came to the last Egyptian stream, but occasionally ancient Egyptian texts will actually put hieroglyphs in an order not representative of where it's actually said in the sentence, like spoken, which we can tell from just general syntax rules and things like that, where it should be. If it's the name or word for a king or other deified figure or deity, often it gets put before the rest of the sentence. It's usually king-related stuff, especially the word for king, sometimes also the word for God, will come before words that describe them. So here we have this sort of like sedge leaf looking thing, and then we have the loaf of bread. And those together are the word nisiwat. And nisiwat means king. Specifically, it means king of Upper Egypt. It means king of Upper Egypt, at least originally. When the kingdoms were split and there was Upper and Lower Egypt separate, there was a word that meant king of Upper Egypt and there was a word that meant king of Lower Egypt. Whenever Egypt is unified, you can use them interchangeably, which texts like this do. We see the word for both used just to mean king. So they can both mean king, general, and they can also be separated out in their individual meanings. So king of Upper Egypt / king, nisiwat. But that's not the first word. The first word is hatip. And hatip means an offering. It's this one here. I don't know if, wait, can you see my cursor? I hope you can see my cursor. Should be cursor capture. I'm just going to double check that that's what's happening. Properties. Capture cursor, good, okay. Okay. Wait, I was looking at the wrong one. I was looking at the wrong window. It's the window that wasn't working that I was checking just a second ago. Properties. Yes, it says capture cursor. Okay. Yeah, this one. That's hatip, which is an offering. So it's an offering, and then we have this like sort of triangle with a line in it. I think it's supposed to be a special kind of offering food, but I may be misremembering. It's always a triangle with a little line at the bottom. It's like supposed to be a smaller triangle, but sometimes it's just a little dot or a little tick at the bottom that connects to the bottom. And that is the verb here, gi. Gi means give. Here it's a participle, actually. I think it's given. So what it is, we have king, offering, given. It's an offering given by the king, or like on behalf of the king. It's not, the pharaoh isn't the one doing this. So it's hatip gi nisiwat. So it's given on behalf of the king and on behalf of anapu. This is a jackal on like a little pedestal, and that is one of the ways to write anapu, which is Anubis. Sometimes it's reconstructed as Yanapu. I think James Allen thinks it's just Anapu. But that's who that is. Anubis. And then we have, it's hard to see here, but this is like a head, like someone's head. And then we've got, I'm just looking at my drawing of it for some of the harder to see ones that are blank here. We've got a head, and then we've got like a little sand dune. We've got a little line, and then we have a horned viper here. And what that is, this little head is actually short for the word tapi, which is a preposition. It's like on top of. But sometimes it can be a noun that means like one who is on top of. And I think that's sort of what's going on here now. It can be either tapi, and this is what is this. I just said what it was. Dunes, sand dunes. This is jiao, and jiao means mountain or hill, and that's what it kind of looks like. It looks like sand dunes, or like sort of the silhouette of a mountain is the idea here. And that little line, this vertical line under it, means that you're not supposed. It's just telling you, like, read this hieroglyph above me literally. Like, read it as what it's a picture of, rather than as, like, just representing the sound that it makes, which a lot of the time hieroglyphs just represent the sound that they make. But here it's like, no, read me literally. So we know that this is the word jiao, which is mountain, and then this little horned viper is the sound, it's the consonant F, and this is sort of like the suffix if that means his, sort of is a possessive suffix there. So tapi jawif, on top of his mountain, and that is a common epithet for Anapa, Anubis. So Anapu tapi jawif, Anubis on top of his mountain. And we're about to get another epithet of Anubis. This is the preposition imi, or ami. Ami, and then we have what, and then I can't remember what this little cross-looking thing is actually supposed to be, but I know it represents the preposition ami here. And we have a quail chick, and then we have a loaf of bread. These are just sound glyphs. This is what, and this is t. This is the word what, and then we have like sort of a oval with two things coming out the side and something coming out of the top. Sometimes there's nothing coming out of the top. But this determiner, I'm not sure if I remember what it's a picture of, but it represents like mummification bandages. Ami is sort of like within, and then what are bandages. So it's like one who is within bandages. And that is another epithet for Anubis. And then we're going to get one more for him, which is, I'm just making sure I have the pronunciation right. Yeah. This is Nibu Taljasir. And Nibu is usually just like a big bowl. And Nibu means Lord, but it's represented with the big bowl usually. And then we have a strip of, this line is supposed to be like a strip of land with two dots under it that show that it's land. Maybe it's like irrigated land or something like that. This is tal, which is land. And this is someone's arm holding a stick. And that's the word jasid, which means holy or sacred. Tal jasid means sacred land or like burial land. And Nibu means Lord. So it's Lord of the burial land. Nibu Tal Jasir. That is another epithet for Anubis. So we've got a gift, or sorry, an offering given on behalf of the king, and Anubis on top of his mountain, one who's in bandages, Lord of the sacred land. All right. So far we've said that basically like who's authorizing this inscription, king and Anubis. Then we have Parayit Harao. This is a sort of formula. We have like a little house plan, and then we have something, I can't remember what this is a picture of sticking out of it, but we have an offering cake, and then we have like a jug. I think it's supposed to be of beer. But together, these represent a sort of formula. Parayit harao means literally it's like a coming out or an emergence, and then harao is voice. So it's like an emergence of voice, the coming out of your speech or voice. And what that usually means is it's sort of invoking the person who this is for in the process of the inscription. So it's like you're saying, well, we're about to get designation of who this was, but the point here with the emergence of voice is to say this is sort of like bringing in the voice We kind of do this when we say like in memory of so and so. It's sort of like the emergence of voice of person we're about to describe who this burial is for. It's sort of inviting the dead into the conversation, sort of. Parayit haral. Ni, this is sort of like a little zigzags for a river, and that is just the letter N. And here it's representing the preposition ni, which means to or for. Here it's for. An emergence voice for or of. This little strip up here makes no sense to me. I don't think it should be here. I can't figure out what it's supposed to be a hieroglyph for. The only things I can think of this could be don't fit grammatically or contextually. I think maybe the scribe meant to put the N up here, but then realized he couldn't fit these under it, and so just kind of made a nice looking little divot that looks aesthetically pleasing to fill the space, and not look like a huge mistake. Not that many people other than other scribes could have called him on it being a mistake, but I can't make any sense of what that's supposed to be. There shouldn't be any word here grammatically. It doesn't make any sense. An emergence of voice for. Here we have, this is, just checking the pronunciation that I got here. Is that right? Yes. Yeah. Both of these are like really doing a lot of work to fill in for entire words. Each of these is filling in an entire word that's just super elided here. This is hulitioi. Hulitioi. I'm doing those pharyngeals horribly. Hulitioi. And hulitioi means governor. This is sort of like the front of a lion. It's like its head and its arm. And then this is a human arm. But it's representing like one who's first and with the king, I think is what that's coming out to etymologically, but it just means governor. This means governor here. Then we have another out of order thing here. We have a bee. This is a bee. You can't see it very well. Not the letter B, but like the insect, a bee. You can see its little sections here, and then you have its wings, and then its 6 legs, and its antennae. This bee and this T, this loaf of bread that represents the consonant T, this is the word biatai. It's biatai. Biatai is a king of Lower Egypt, if I remember correctly. Yes, king of Lower Egypt. The B goes with Lower Egypt, and the sedge goes with Upper Egypt. We have king, and then we have like this sort of like pendant on a string here, and this is supposed to be the word hatamti. And this means one who bears the seal, because this is a seal. So it's like the one who bears the seal for the king. And so again, king is coming first, being reordered grammatically. So it should be hatamti biatai, but it's biatai and then hatamti on the inscription. So far we've got an offering given by the king, or on behalf of the king, and Anubis, who is on his mountain, wrapped in bandages, lord of the sacred land. The emergence of voice for the governor, the seal bearer of the king, and then we have this next word, which is these two together, I think, are this is Samir Wati. Why I'm struggling so hard with the pharyngeals today for some reason. Wati. There we go. Wati means soul or lone only, and then Samir is like a companion. So Samir Wati is soul companion. It's a common thing to call someone who works for the king, even though obviously the king didn't just have one companion. All the governors were technically in the same role here, but They're all called the King's Soul Companion because it's just sort of like a nice, like, you know, even if they literally didn't get a chance to meet the pharaoh, they were besties. This person was totally besties with the pharaoh. That's just the polite thing to put on the funerary inscription. Oh no, this does not taste good. I was gonna do a pot of French press in the event that I had time before the stream, but then the whole light bulb thing happened and I had to make some instant coffee, and for some reason it's very, very bitter, despite me putting a lot of honey in this. I don't think I've ever had instant coffee that tasted this bitter. It's awful. I'm not going to finish this. Thanks for listening to my little asides. So we've got Soul Companion Soul Companion. And then we have this next word, which I always struggle with. It's no, it's not. That's not what that says. Oh, this is another thing where, like, one hieroglyph is pulling a lot of weight here. So here we have this little loop string. We have this thing, and then we have a foot, like a leg and a foot. This is shuri, I think is the reconstruction there. Shuri, and then these two together are it's regular, halabat. Shuri halabat, and that means bearer of the bearer of the festival scroll, literally, but contextually / formulaically, it means a lector priest, like the priest who's going to be speaking out things at events. So therefore, the bearer, the holder of the festival scroll, the scroll that's for whatever celebration you're doing. So this is just another role that he, I guess, had. The governor is the bearer of the festival scroll, the lector priest. And then we have this formula, which is pretty common. I'm just making sure I got my pronunciation right. So this is amalchau chur nacharal. Yeah. So amalchau is one who is revered. Chur here is before, in the face of, and then nachar al is nachar is God. Nachar. This is sort of like a flag, I think, is what this is actually an image of, but this usually means nachar, which is God. Nachar. And then al is an adjective that means great, and it's just like this kind of like little. It looks like a little star, and then it looks like a little long drip. I forget what it's actually an image of. I forget what a lot of hieroglyphs are actually supposed to be pictures of, because I'm so used to them just being the sound of the word, honestly, a lot of the time. Like, I forget that T is a loaf of bread sometimes, or that this R is supposed to be a mouth. It's just R to me. So yeah, that's why I've forgotten a lot of these things. I used to know what all of these were pictures of. But yeah, so it means the great God. It's just a common phrase. So one revered before the great God. You know, he was a very pious person. He was beloved of the gods. And which great God, though? Nibu, this is Nibu again, Lord. Pit. And then this is supposed to be a picture of the sky. It's like a ceiling almost that you're drawing. Nibu Pit, Lord of the sky. Okay. Then we have sort of like a jug with legs, which is fun. And then the N, the like sort of river, it's an N again. And yeah, I need to reference this one because this is the name of a local deity, which is pretty cool. We have the little loop thing again, and we have another head, but this head's not facing any direction. It's like looking at the viewer, kind of. We have a mouth, and we have a loaf of bread. And then we have a determiner here, and then an n, and then this is supposed to be like a twig. And then I think this is like another loaf of bread, and then this is like it's supposed to be an oval, but it looks like another loaf of bread to me. It's just kind of, I think it's the weird graininess of the zoom, like the pixelation, that makes it look weird to me. But what this is, so this is actually the guy's name, which if you look at the stream title, or if you're on YouTube, you'll see the name title, is a bunch of consonants because, again, they didn't write vowels. This is typically Egyptologically pronounced jnḥrtnḥt because we just put E's between things and pronounce all the H's the same usually. I think the reconstruction for his name here that I have written down is jnḥrtnḥt. jnḥrtnḥt. And it's actually, jnḥrt is a local deity, jnḥrt. He was a god of hunting and war, who is local to this region of Upper Egypt. And Nahit is just sort of like one who is, Nahit means strong. So it's like Anurit is strong, is sort of the name of the god, or the name of the person, the governor. Because a lot of ancient Egyptian names are like insert deity is great or insert deity is strong. A lot of names that come from Hebrew are similar. Like a lot of biblical names are similar. Like it'll be like God is blank. It'll be like that. All the names that end with L in the Bible, or just that come from Hebrew, are like something God. Sometimes there's something of God, but sometimes they're like God is blank. Depends on the name. A lot of L something as well. So here it's like Anhurit is strong is this guy's name. Jnḥrtnḥt. And Jnḥrtnḥt. And then we have a snake, and then we have a hand. And that's the verb jad. Jad means it's to say. Here it's like says in the perfective. With the imperfective aspect here. So it means he says. So we've gotten all these titles for this governor. Then we finally get his actual name, Jnḥrtnḥt. And then we have says. So these are going to be his words. We're putting words into his mouth. Always fun. So here's what he says. And this part is where I'm going to really need to be looking down a lot because this is where it goes off script because it's not formulas anymore. It's just, there's some formulas here, but it's like dialogue, quotes attributed to him. What did he say? He's going to say good things about himself, probably. So yeah, it starts with the pronoun anak, which is, anak is I. And it's usually written with like a little bowl, jug, cup looking thing. And then a basket with a little handle. So we got anak miri, and that's I was a loved one. Sure you were. You sure were. You were a loved one. What's the vowels here? Yatif, yeah. Yatif, here we have a T and we have an F, and then we have like a guy sitting in a chair. That is father. That's one way to write father, at least. There are actually a lot of ways to sort of like shorten the word father here. But Yatif, his father. Yati is father. So, Ni Yatif. He was beloved of his father, to his father. And then we have Hisi Ni Miwatif. So here we have Hisi Ni, and we have like a vulture, a T, and then the F again to be like that suffix if, which is his, just like we had here with his father, Yatif. Here we have Mitwatif. Mitwat is usually written with a vulture, a T, and sometimes there'll be like a little quail chick that represents W, and then we'll have a woman here. She's sitting down, which is interesting. That's usually not how you write woman, determiners, but she's sitting down. It's cool. His mother, Miwatif. Miwatif. I got zoomed out again. Okay. So he was beloved to his father, and he is praised by his mother. And then we have Murura here. We have two R's. Murura is another way to say beloved. He was beloved. This is just like a loved one to his father, but here it's like beloved, like having been beloved. Murura. And then we have an interesting thing where we are actually like collating two words together, which does happen with these words a lot. So we have this sort of, I think this is a nose. It's supposed to be a nose. And then we have two N's. And then some other little hieroglyphs here. We have it like this that represents W. We have a little snake because it's going to be horned viper because it's going to be a possessive. It's going to be his something. And we have a man and we have a woman and we have three dots under, or three lines under it that show like it's multiple. It's plural. So what this is two plural words. Sanuif, which is his brothers, and Sanuatif, his sisters. So Sanuif, Sanuatif, his brothers and sisters. But instead of writing both, it's just sort of like we're putting, that's why there's two N's here. There shouldn't be two N's. There aren't two N's in either word. But there's two N's because the word is being said twice. And they're both plural. And the T here, I think, is for the feminine one. And then we have the F. It's kind of a weird way to write Sanuif, Sanuatif, but it's efficient. It saves space. And then we have amil, ni, we have another N. So it's amil, and we have an owl, ni, and then we have, this is labutif. That's what I thought, yeah. Labutif. And this is a strange determiner. I usually don't see. This might be just representing the sound, like BT or something like that. I've seen this word written other ways. It usually does have this hieroglyph. But labutif means like household or family. And you see there's three lines because it's sort of like a collective. Labutif, his household. So amil means gracious, and that's this word here, amil. And then we have labutif, his ni. Sorry, there's the N here again. Ni labutif, to his household, to his family. And that's the vibe we get, right? Because he's a loved one of his father, praised by his mother, beloved of his siblings, and gracious to his family. Okay, so this is him saying that. I was someone who was all of this. Okay, we get some more from him. We have another way of expressing a pronoun, which is interesting. Urajini, and this is T, ni, hogir, is what this is, hogir. So urajini, I gave. And what this is here, this is like an forearm, and it's holding that little triangle that we saw up here. So this is another way to say gave, but it's in the past. So I gave, and what this is T is bread. Here, bread is literal because we have like 3 different loaves of bread here drawn. To, and then hugir is hungry. But we have a person here telling us that it's not the adjective hungry. It's like the hungry, like one who is hungry, a person who's hungry. So I gave bread to the hungry. Okay, cool. That's a good thing to do, I guess. And then we have habasao here. Habasao. Ni. Where is it? Where's the ni? Is the ni implied here? Is it not written? Oh, no, the ni is here. Yeah, okay. I don't know why I had trouble seeing that. Habasao ni huli. Holy. It's not long. Holy. So what you see here repeated these are actually combs, I think, or like the sort of like, what are they called? Spokes on a loom. Because habaso means clothing, and huli means naked, another adjective that we have a person. So clothes to the naked. So I gave food to the hungry and clothes to the naked. So he's saying, I was a generous person. I helped the needy, basically. He's going to give another example here. U jilni, so u here again is the pronoun. It's written with this like reed leaf and then the quail chick. This is just showing that vowel is to come, and this is showing what vowel it is u here. Sometimes, though, the quail chick is showing a vowel at the end of a word and it's not showing which vowel it is. Although it often means that we guess it's a U. Because why would they choose this? There are a lot of different ones that they could do to show that a vowel comes at the end, but yeah. So u, and then jilni, we have another past tense, jilni, and gil means to ferry, to like, drive a boat, and this is supposed to be a boat here. Jilni, and this n, again, this n is ni, which is showing that it's the first person in the past. I did this. I ferried. Who did I ferry? Uwu. We have two sort of like reclining animals. I think they're supposed to be calves, like baby cows, on top of each other. And this is a very shortened way of saying the word uwu, which means someone who has been marooned. Someone who has been left without a boat. So again, another more of the theme of helping the needy. I gave bread to the hungry, clothes to the naked. I ferried those who were left without a boat. Okay, all generous things. Ma, this M here is the preposition ma, and here it's like in. Usually ma is like in or on. In. And then we have this word that I struggle to read sometimes. It's like a cow without a head. And it's machineity. Machineity, and this is, you see a boat with like an oar. Machineity means boat. I always struggle to read what this hieroglyph is. I forget what sound this makes is the problem. That's why I was looking here. But what we actually have is this M isn't, it's like doing two jobs, because we need the preposition ma here for it to make sense. But the following word also starts with an M, so it's kind of doing both jobs at once. It's like, really there should be two owls. This M is an owl. There should be two owls in a row, one for the preposition, one for the start of this word. But it's kind of doing dual purposes here, kind of like this nose was doing two purposes. But yeah, machineity, jasi. And jasi means own. So it's like my own. So I ferried the marooned in my own boat. See how generous I was? I did it with the kindness of my own heart. I ferried people who were left without a boat in my own boat. How nice of me. And we have something that's a little more self-oriented, I guess. It's less of he was generous. It's more like I also was pretty cool. And this is irni. Irni kalau shit ma irtani jasi. So again, and then we have irni, and this is like this verb ir. It's over here too. Some reconstructed as ad here, adni, and this is adniti. Depends on the person reconstructing it. I'm just gonna say it for simplicity. Irni. It can mean do or make, but it could also mean get in the right circumstances, and I think it means get here. I got, or I received, and then what we have here is something I don't want to get demonetized for explaining what it's an image of, because it's blurry enough that I could get away with it. And then we have a bull. This is the common way to spell the word bull. Kalau. it's bulls, plural. That those 3 lines again are indicating a plural. And then this little swirl here is actually the number shit, which is 100. So 100 bulls. I got 100 bulls. Ma irniti jasi. And here irniti, so irniti here is more of like a participle here. It's like that which I did. Jasi, and that's self again. So like what I did myself. So like I earned these bulls, my own hard work, my own 2 hands. I got these bulls. Okay, cool. This would have been very significant for him. He's a governor, so he should have a lot of animals. And we see some of the other prosperity that he had, right? Like there's all this food, people serving him. It's pretty impressive. We've got some numbers down here. We're not actually going to read this part. But yeah, we are going to read, now that we finish this part, we're going to read this part where it actually talks about his wife. It goes this way. It's still right to left, and then it goes right to left, but top to bottom here. Because basically they ran out of space and continued it here. But this is his wife. So here we have about his wife. So that's the end of his quotation there. Like end quotes after this point. Done. Cool. That's his piece. He said his piece. He got 100 bulls with his own work. All right. Then we have here himatif. Or no, I'm putting the stress in the wrong place. Himatif. Himat means wife. Himatif. And then we have this that is probably an abbreviation for mirtif, which is just an agreeing adjective, which is why the endings are repeated again. But it's like his beloved wife, mirti here. It's like mirit is beloved, feminine, but there's a possessive on it, so it's mirtif. So himatif, himatif. Why am I struggling to pronounce today? Himatif, mirtif. Okay, so his beloved wife, and then we get something that's switched out of place again. So we're going to skip over this. We've already seen this. This is the sedge with the bread. That's the king of Upper Egypt. So we're going to skip to this part, which is shakrat. Shakrat is literally, it means one who's decorated woman. Nisiwat, king. So decorated of the king, that means lady in waiting, basically. So lady in waiting. And then we have yet another thing that's out of order, and it's humat nachir, or nachar, sorry. Humat nachar. Nachar being God again, we have the flag, and then humat being like a servant, servant of God. So humat nachar, servant of gods. And the nachar is coming first because it's important, so we're switching the order again like we did with the king. And that's a common way to say priestess. Just servant of God is a formulaic way to say priestess. And then we have a box, and inside the box we have a tea, bread, and we have a falcon on a perch. And that is the common way, not necessarily with the T, sometimes the T is there, to write hawit haru. Hawit haru. And the hawit haru is Hathor, the goddess. So servant or priestess of Hathor is what we're saying. That's a common thing to call a dignitary's wife. She was... I said I wasn't going to drink any more of this coffee. That was just reflex, I guess. That was a common thing for sort of government officials' wives to be priestesses of Hathor in their dedications. So, what does it say about her next? It says, amlahat here. There's a reed, and then there's like a rib bone. We actually had that up here too. I didn't explain it, but it's this hieroglyph. Typically when this is drawn with more detail, you'll see like these are ribs, and this is like the bone that it's on. Amalhat here means beloved, or not beloved, revered. Amlahat. I think it's related to amil, gracious, but I might be making that up. I might be misremembering. But amlahat here is woman who is revered, the revered one. And then we have her name, which is, we don't have the reconstructed vowels for, even less so than with his name. I had, using a lot of the information I could find, I could like reconstruct his name pronunciation, but I can't find anything that's giving me a hint as to how to pronounce her name. But it's the consonant ha. The sort of aspirated H is a pharyngeal fricative, voiceless pharyngeal fricative. And then we have w, and then we have this hieroglyph here, which often just indicates that there's a vowel at the end of the word. It's transcribed with a J because it, like, sometimes, occasionally represents the y when there's two of them. It's, like, pretty clear that it's a y, or maybe just a vowel E at the end. But when it's a single one, it's often just a place marker that says that there's a vowel there. So, hua, hui, howie, hiwi, we have no way to know. So yeah, that's her name. And I couldn't find even like a hint as what it could mean, unfortunately. We know that his name means like, anhorit is strong, but no hint as to what her name means. So yeah, that's him, and that's his wife. And then down here, we have some text that's from left to right, going this way, because you can see this is actually a duck hieroglyph facing that way, or sorry, for you it will be this way, away from my camera. So what this says is, it says silif, so sil is sun, and it's a duck. And then we have another horned viper, that's the F there for basically his son. Which son? And then it's Midif, beloved. Midif. So it's his beloved son. And then we have 3 little jugs. And then like a little boy. And then the 2 reeds. So his name was probably Nanui. And I couldn't, I thought I was gonna write down what the idea of what that could mean was, but I forgot to do that. But yeah, his beloved son Nanui, and this is a picture of him. He's tiny. I think this is another son that died, because over here we get a different dedication, which this is actually kind of like a signature almost. Not quite. I don't think this is this. Who's referenced here is not the scribe, but the scribe obviously is writing this. But this is sort of like putting who's responsible for it here. Kind of like we got on those rune stones that we read, those Swedish rune stones last year, where it would say like, person's wife commissioned this kind of thing. So here what we have is yjnḥrtnḥt silif again. So yjnḥrtnḥt is sort of like what was made by, that which was made by Silif, again, his son. And which son is it? His son, we have a person, this is really hard to see, a person leaning forward on a cane, and this is Samsu, which is old, and we have this E on it, and then F. So it's like Samsuif is oldest, so it's his oldest son. Dibi, we have a hand, a shoe, or not a shoe, a leg and a foot, and then a reed, and that's just his name, Dibi, and I couldn't figure out what his name means either. So Dibi is his oldest son, so it's like what was made by or on behalf of his oldest son, Dibi. So his oldest son, Dibi, I guess, lived and had this commissioned for his mom and dad, who were like governor and governess, respectively, I guess. He was the one with the title. But yeah, so that is the inscription, which is kind of fun. I was wondering if anyone had any questions, though. I apologize again for being late. I'm actually really upset that I was late, because I went way out of my way to come on time today, and then just all of my technology had to decide to not work, including my low-tech like lamps and stuff going out right before the stream. I had to replace my lamp, get a different lamp here, which is probably why my lighting looks very different from how it usually looks, because I have a new lamp here. So, any questions or any comments about this text? I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see more of it. I don't have much to say about the artwork other than it's very beautiful, especially for the first intermediate period. It's very, very nice looking. Just waiting to see if anyone has any questions in the chat. Because if there's no questions or comments, I might end this stream early. I got through this a lot more quickly than I expected. I thought this would take the full 2 hours. It only took an hour and some change, and I was 10 minutes late. So it only took an hour. Yeah, but this is a pretty substantial text. This is a lot longer than the one we read last time. But it was fun. It doesn't look like anyone has any comments this time. I hope I was clear enough in explaining this text. Maybe I should go through it one more time. Okay, yeah. Just like what it says. Let's just go through one more time. What does the text say? So it says, an offering given on behalf of the king and Anubis, who is on his mountain, the one in bandages, lord of the sacred land. All those are epithets of Anubis. And the emergence of voice for the governor, seal bearer of the king, his sole companion, bearer of the festival scroll, so lector priest, revered before the great god, lord of the sky, jnḥrtnḥt, Anhurit is strong, the god Anhurit is strong, says, so that's his name, says, I was beloved to my father, praised by my mother, loved by my siblings, and gracious to my household. I gave bread to the hungry. I gave clothes to the naked. I ferried those left without a boat in my own boat. I gained 100 bulls by my own handiwork. And then we have his beloved wife, praised. Wait, no. His beloved wife, the lady in waiting. There we go. Lady in waiting to the king. The priestess of Hathor, praised. There we go. I was looking here for some reason. Revered, praised. Hui. We were not sure how to pronounce her name. Hui, Hewa, Hewa. We just know the consonants here. It's Egyptologists will just pronounce this Hui because they see an H, a W, and an I, even though this is not an I. It's a vowel placeholder. All right. Yeah. So, and then we have down here his beloved son, Nanui. And then here we have this work is made on behalf of his oldest son, DB. So that's what it says. Pretty beautiful dedication to this governor. It's amazing that we have it. You can see how it's sort of like damaged on the edges, but it's really nice. And yeah, this was fun to read. It's always fun for me to go back to hieroglyphs because it was something I got very interested in when I was very young. And I did keep up with it when I was, in grade school and had free time to do stuff like that, like keep up with my hieroglyphs through middle and high school. But in college, sort of like narrowing into certain fields and stuff like that, it did not give me a lot of time to keep up with hieroglyphs. and just reading Egyptian in general. Every few years I just kind of like dip back into, you know, reading papers and stuff just to see what the new stuff is, because in recent years there's been a lot of headway in sort of reconstructing ancient Egyptian phonology, especially with regards to the vowels. And that's very interesting to me because I would love to be able to pronounce ancient Egyptian, don't we all? We all want to be able to pronounce ancient Egyptian authentically and not just insert e's in between all of the consonants like Egyptologists need to do their job. It's nice that we have some linguistic advancements in this field, but there's still a lot that we do not know. There's still a lot of words that we just really can't know the vowels for, unfortunately. And sometimes a lot of the consonants are even debated. I used L here for the consonant that is usually written, looks kind of like a 3 or like 2 apostrophes on top of each other. A lot of people reconstruct that as like a uvular R, like a or a sound. But in his book, Ancient Egyptian Phonology, James Allen gives some very strong arguments for it being L, an L that was lost very early on and then just kind of becomes a vowel placeholder later. And there's some evidence from certain dialects of Coptic where it becomes R that suggests it might have been an L that turned into an R, which is a really common sound change. But in other places it just kind of goes away, especially at the ends of syllables, which is a really common thing for L to become like a vowel and then disappear. So I'm very convinced that it's an L. I'm not 100%, like, we don't know, but I'm definitely in the camp of it's probably an L, and that's why I pronounced it that way. But that's not the only reconstructed pronunciation. Just so you know. I'm not a source for Egyptological linguistics. Don't cite me on this. We're just doing this for fun. I've been doing ancient Egyptian stuff for years, and it's always been very fascinating to me, so it's always fun to get to come back and do this, take a break from all the Germanic philology stuff and do some ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. So since I'm finished so early, if no one has any comments or anything like that, I think I might just leave early. I do have other things to work on. I have another project I'm going to work on, but I'm not going to transform this into a project stream all of a sudden. Actually, you know what? Maybe I will. Maybe I'll start a new stream after this. I'll end the stream so this can get uploaded, and then I'll start another stream maybe. We'll see. Impromptu stream. We shall see. But for next week, because we will have project stream next week. Next week will be another day where I end at 1:30 instead of going all the way to 2. Today was supposed to go all the way to 2, but we finished early. So I will have to leave early. I'll end the stream at 1:30 is the plan. My time. You'll see what time that is for you if you go to my stream schedule on Twitch. And I'll also try to remember to make an announcement a little earlier than I did. I made the announcement for this last night. I'll try to make the announcement earlier next week. But we will be doing another journal-esque video. It will be another journal with me, so you'll be seeing my book instead of my face. But it's not just going to be another normal sort of like making my layout for the week video. It's going to be more, I mean, there will be some of that. You'll see my week layout, but I'm going to try to actually do that before the stream. I'm going to show some other kinds of spreads and do some other stuff. I might be doing some origami on stream, so that might be fun. Just some interesting other stuff that I'm going to be doing on my journal this coming week. So that's what's coming this coming week. The week next will be, I had it in my schedule already. What was it? It wasn't more Silmarillion adaptation. It was something else. It was not a conlang stream. It was a different project. Should have written this down. I should have had bullet point notes for this end segment. I forget what the project was going to be that I was going to work on. It's definitely an important project, but I can't remember what the stream was going to be. All right. Well, next week will be a journal video. That is for sure. The week next, it's something Germanic philology related. It's not the Old English alliterative versifying of the Eine Lindelei project. It's not that. It's something else. So yes, be looking out for that. And then I think after that there will be another conlang stream. So in like 3 weeks, I guess, there will be another conlang thing, I believe. I believe that's my plan, unless I'm swayed to do something else. That's a little further out. So yeah, that's what to expect. Next week, journal stuff, paper. There will be paper involved. There will be journaling. There will be origami. There will be other interesting little things in the stationary journaling realm. And then the following week, there will be something Germanic philology related. And then the following week after that, there will be some conlang related stuff. So lots of exciting things. Oh, I'm going to make an announcement next week as well during my journal video, so that's exciting. There's some cool stuff to come for this channel. But yes, so thank you, anyone watching this in real time. Thank you for showing up, even though I had some very many technical difficulties today. And anyone watching this in the future, thank you for bearing with me complaining about those technical difficulties, because they don't affect you at all, person watching this on YouTube in the future. Please leave any comments you might have in the comment section down below. I answer comments. I read all of them, and if it makes sense to answer it, I will answer it. If it's just a stray thing, I still usually answer it. So definitely engage in the comments, ask questions. You can ask me general questions too. I might do another Q&A stream down the line. Anything related to this text maybe would be fine. I can find the answer for that for you. Ancient Egyptian grammar stuff, you can ask me. I'm a little bit more out of practice than I used to be, but I can still answer general questions about ancient Egyptian stuff. It's not like I've completely forgotten the language. And anything related to any of the kinds of things that I do streams about. So yeah, if I don't know the answer, I will point you in the direction of the answer. So it's always good to ask. Suggestions for future streams, that's also totally welcome. If you want yesterlore to come back in full and not just in this sort of random thing, give me ideas for things you want me to read in yesterlore. If you want more conlang content, tell me. Just feedback. I love feedback, and I love engaging with the comments. So yeah, thank you, and I hope you have a good rest of whatever time zone you are in. Thank you, and farewell.